So today we're going to be installing brand new headlights on my new Edge Mustang. I teased these in a couple of videos before, if you guys have been watching my recent vlogs, but big shout out to American Muscle because they hooked it up on these Raxium projector headlights. We're actually going to be doing demon eyes on these, so I'm going to open up the housing, put the LED rings in, but those haven't come from China yet because I got the AliExpress special. So we're going to put these on, and once again, thank you to American Muscle for hooking it up. It's going to make this new Edge Mustang look sick with the new wrap, which you guys will see within probably by the end of this video. So let's get cracking on the install with these. They are dual projector headlights. They have 2 rings in the middle. They look super, super good. Now, as a part of this vlog, we're also going to be installing some awesome taillights. They're S197 styled from American Muscle as well. So they did the whole 9 yards for me. Thank you, Clyde. You are the GOAT, bro. So we're going to get new headlights, new taillights, a wrap by the end of this video. This thing's having a full cosmetic makeover. It's gonna look dope. Right now we got the crusty dusty yellow headlights. They don't look too good. And the crusty dusty painted over taillights. You can see them right there. So they don't look the best. Right there are the S197 style taillights. So I don't know about you guys, but the S197 is the best body style of Mustang in recent years because it was the last year of actual muscle car. Then we went to the S550. And it kind of became a pony car. You lost that live rear end axle and you went to the independent rear suspension. I installed headlights on a new Edge Mustang, but common sense tells me that the first step here is going to be to take off the hood pins, get the hood off, and then basically there's probably going to be bolts or nuts somewhere on the inside there by the bumper bracket. Alrighty, I do not like doing this because I gotta lift the whole fiberglass hood up myself. Let's not damage it, I just wrapped it. And as far as removing the headlights, I think it's super simple. You have like these little metal brackets on the backhand side of each headlight and they just pull out. And that should allow the entire headlight assembly to just like move forward. And is it pouring? But let's get this headlight out. I think it'll just slide forward if I'm correct. Yeah, there you go. So look at that. It's so easy to change out headlights on these cars. Just for comparative sake, that's the new blacked out housing, dual halos versus the stock. I don't think those have been changed since the car was like produced in 2004. They look so destroyed and nasty. I think my bumper just sags a little bit because it has broken clips. We'll have to fix that too. We're getting a Cobra bumper, but look at that. That is so much nicer. Compared to the other side, ugh, night and day difference. I'm telling you guys, with the mint green wrap, the blacked out housing is gonna look miles better, so check it. You can see the contrast. Yeah, those stock ones had to go. This one was far worse on the other side, so check that out. Oh my lord. Corrosion is crazy. All the weather stripping falling apart versus that.
The next day.
Give you all a sneak peek of what the headlights are gonna look like all lit up. And when I put those RGB red rings in, because I finally got them in the mail all the way from China. I ordered them on AliExpress. So that's your little sneak peek. This is gonna look freaking sick. Demon eyes, retrofit on the new Edge Mustang. I already got a preview of what those headlights look like with the daytime running lights illuminated. I mean, miles better than the yellow ones, but we haven't actually seen the headlight projectors because for some reason, the headlight projector and the taillights do not want to get power anymore. So we need to do some diagnosis here. So I've shown this before. I have a singular switch for my headlights and my taillights, no brake lights, turn signals, etc. This is the only thing that's supposed to turn them on to run permanently. So it's not reliant on the factory power, but we need to do some diagnosis as to see what's going on here. Why aren't the headlights and taillights turning on when I flip that switch? So it's gonna be a little annoying because I didn't do the wiring here, but I should be able to figure it out. And then we could actually see what those headlights look like with the headlight projector beam on, not just the DRLs, because the DRLs are the rings and the 3 little dots. We need all of it. I ended up taking the switch, which you can see right there, out of the dashboard to see what was going on, because if both of the headlights and taillights aren't working, that tells me that it's a switch problem. It's not a wiring problem on either of them, because obviously both of them are not working, so they're not getting the power to turn on both at the same time how they're supposed to. And I looked at this, and this was the culprit. Specifically the power connection to the switch terminals. So it's all corroded out. just get a new one of these, crimp it, and we will have a permanent fix so that our headlights and taillights will turn back on. Test out and see if I fixed it now. I think so. You can see the headlight beams. Let's go. I didn't know that the headlights were yellow lights. I thought they would be LEDs, or I would have opened that up when I changed out the rings to give it the angel eyes, which you guys will see in a separate video. But you can see it is functional now. It'll look 10 times better if those were LED bulbs. What I'll do within this video also is wire in a separate thing so that the headlights run separately from the DRLs. We'll put another switch in the dashboard so that only the rings can be activated. Toggle that separate switch to run just the DRLs. That's what it's gonna look like, minus the headlight beam. Hope that makes sense, but I wanna be able to show just that without the headlights, and that's what we're getting at here. So you can see the two-faced look. I'm going with the red any day of the week. It looks so much better.
1 week later.
Really setting up those demon eyes to run separately of the headlights, because you guys know with the headlights it doesn't look the best, and that's how the wiring is ran right now. They would run simultaneously. I already explained that. So we're gonna take this red wire, solder it to the power on each side, and then set up a separate ground for it and wire it to a switch. I bought a red switch. Apparently it's supposed to glow red. It should look pretty cool. Let's do it. Just say that soldering iron is not the best. It really struggled, so that's why it looks like this. I had to tap it from the top. Not good, but it'll get the job done as long as the wires don't pull apart. So I got some heat shrink on there. Let's heat shrink it up, and then we'll move on to the next step. This is probably one of the last things I have to solder for this job. It's feeding all of my wires because obviously they're gonna have to go to the other side. To confirm that everything is functional with all the wiring that I've done. So we're good. We can now like zip tie and hide everything because we got a mess going on here, and then I'm gonna ground to the strut tower and draw power from the battery junction. Lights actually don't come with turn signal bulbs, but if you twist counterclockwise, you can transfer it from your stock headlight. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm trying to do right now. This one doesn't want to come out for whatever reason, but it should in just a second. It just needed a little bit of finessing. So you're gonna do the same thing, insert it and twist clockwise to tighten it up. One last little test here to see if I did it all correctly. So this is pretty cool, it does glow. But yeah, you can see the switch is flipped and they turn on, so I wired it all right. Drilling into the dashboard right next to the other switch location. So pleasant to do this by myself. Don't think that's gonna be big enough.
A few moments later.
But it only was the small wire in there. Look. This wire's it up. But no, there's no wire. Is that a fire? Yeah. The guy that wired that, so I had an issue where my headlights and taillights went out like a month ago. You remember when I fixed that? Yeah, I saw that. Now the wire got hot again. I don't know how to say this, but the New Edge legitimately caught on fire. And it's funny because this is actually a problem I had a month and a half ago. My headlights and taillights stopped working, and I think I included that within one of these recent vlogs. So we fixed it, and I placed a fuse in there because I noticed that the wires were burned to my headlight switch. We have a whole aftermarket headlight switch thing running because the factory harnesses aren't being used in this car, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, I noticed that the wires were burned. While I'm sitting in the car, I flip the headlight switch on, and I start seeing smoke coming out from underneath the dashboard, you know, like my little plastic dashboard that's right there. So this was flipped up, I see smoke coming out, and then a full-on fire happens because that entire wire that goes to the headlight switch burned through to the engine bay. It didn't just burn at the switch part. So I run and I grab my fire extinguisher that's sitting in there. Guess what? Fire extinguisher doesn't work. My fire extinguisher inside the car doesn't work. I'm screaming, Devin, we need a fire extinguisher. This whole car is gonna be up in flames in 30 seconds from now, right? Thankfully, my sister's outside. She finds another fire extinguisher inside the house, got the fire extinguisher from the house, sprayed it all down, and you guys can see all of that fire extinguisher dust all over the car. So the car went up in flames. I got super lucky, but what I went ahead and did was replaced all of the wires from the previous owner because I think they're improperly gauged, and I placed a fuse on the power line now, or I will in a second, but all the wires are now replaced with thicker 12 gauge. And yeah, it shouldn't do that again. I think the gauge of the wire was too thin, too much load with the headlights and taillights running at the same time. Lit it up. So I'm scared, but I redid all the wiring. Hopefully it doesn't light up again, because that was not a good experience. And Devin literally froze when I said, get a fire extinguisher, look for a fire extinguisher, we're gonna be screwed. What are the chances of my fire extinguisher failing, the one I have in the car? If I wasn't home and that happened, the car would be up in flames. Just know that. So I got very lucky tonight. That's exactly where I'm placing the fuse, in line, and pretty much 4 inches from the power source. So if it ever decides to burn again, it'll burn right before the fuse and then pop it. All right, so that fuse job is now done. Probably just gonna shove it in so it's not sticking out all over the place, and then tape it up. In theory, I should be able to just tighten down this thing right here, the little plastic ring that comes with it, and we should have a fully functional and flush fitted switch, which is awesome. Only after a little bit of a fire, right? I'm scared to do this and hesitant, but I'm gonna flip the headlight switch and see if we have a fire. I could also feel the wires and see if they get hot. If it gets hot, I'm shutting it off immediately. Includes coming up here. Feeling these. Nope, they're normal. I'm gonna feel these. Everything I just redid too. Nope, that feels good. And that's what the headlights look like without the red rings or the daytime running lights running. Fire issue is solved. We can get back to the main thing that I actually did all this work for, and adding this blue switch, having the daytime running lights or the red rings running separately. So once again, I'm gonna feel all the wires, because I got me geeked out and scared now for the other wires. The car out of the garage. Good news here is that it looks like absolutely nothing else burned besides those headlight wires. So none of the ECU wires got fried out, none of the transmission cooler wires, none of the transmission stuff got burned out. But I think I'm gonna clean it up now, because this fire extinguisher stuff is very corrosive. We're gonna spray it down with some Zesty Wash and see the final result. Perfectly okay to detail your engine bay, and I'm doing this to get all the dust out, as long as you cover up the alternator, the turbo, and any sort of power source. So I covered up the fuse box, but you can see the foam is agitating. It's cleaning up all of that dust out right now. This stuff does a fantastic job. If you guys want it, it is Zesty Wash, and it is my brand, so I just released it. It's pretty awesome. Watermelons, anybody? Zesty Wash, the entire thing is now squeaky clean. So we did put an artificial wax within our formula. That's why the paint, wrap, etc. looks like that. It is pH neutral, so it's completely okay to use on ceramic coat. And yeah, that's why it comes out looking super shiny after you give it a wash. 10 out of 10, we got a transformation and got rid of all of that nasty dust. That note, if you guys enjoyed this video, it was quite eventful, but please remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and you will see this thing in action at the track within the next video. So I'll see you in the next one.